Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hey, Coach Jay, can hear you loud and clear. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. This is your first time here. The goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. May talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. Want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Coach Jay. Been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. That is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some of my experiences, maybe some knowledge, and help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. You are all our chat, our audience. Hopefully you're all doing well today. Happy Wednesday. Today is September 24th. Coach Paul and I were just saying in the green room, can't believe it's Wednesday already. The week is already more than halfway over. 2 trading days left. And I think they're going to be some pretty good trading days. We got some news, some catalysts. We'll talk about that. But what's up, Dan, JD, Henri, Abed, Bruno, George, Chauncey, Sushim? What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining. Let's take a look at the economic calendar for the day. Also, let us know how you did today. Were you up today, down today? Did you follow your plan? Did you divert from your plan? Anything that you can learn from today to take you through the rest of the week. As far as news goes, pretty quiet on the news front. We had some mortgage applications come in at 6.34%. Or 0.6%, and when prior was 29.7%. New home sales came in at 0.8 million when forecast was 0.65 million. It's funny, this number, Coach Paul, when you look at the units, it's 0.8 and the forecast was 0.65. When you look at percentage change month over month, 20.5% when the forecast was negative 0.3%. And when that number came out, I heard Andre on air. He's just like, that can't be a real number. But it's the change in relation to the forecast, which makes it sound like a way bigger number than it actually is. 20.5% is a lot.
Yeah. And, who puts out the number, by the way?
Great question. That is a great question. I don't know. We could look that up.
In this era, I mean, you got to ask that.
Looks like the Census Bureau puts it out.
Okay. So, yeah, I saw that number too. I'm like, what? It's up 20%?
Right.
More than 4. But wait, there's more. So,
right.
I didn't know. I didn't watch any of those numbers myself, but really not much in as expected. Once again, do you trust the numbers? I think that's going to be a theme we hear for a long time.
Yep. And we trust that number. But outside of that, we had crude oil inventories come out. There was some news on copper. Copper producer, or earlier this morning, said that copper sales were down 4%. We saw that big copper tariff earlier in the year. Copper had a big day. It was the biggest percentage mover to the upside today. Of course, we had crude inventories pretty close to expectations. Came in at negative 0.6 and forecast was 0.5 in the positive. So not too bad of a miss. A million barrels off.
Just a million.
Just a million.
For polite folk.
Right. We had some Fed speakers. Tomorrow, we do have some numbers before the open. We got U.S. durable goods, GDP, and jobless claims. We got some PCE numbers coming out. We have Fed speakers, existing home sales. So the rest of the week is going to be a pretty busy week. We got PCE, which is the inflation number that the Fed looks at. We got Barkin speaking on Friday, Michigan sentiment final. So if you didn't get enough volatility over the past 3 days, wait, there's more. Anything else you got on the news, Coach Paul?
No, that's it.
Good stuff. All right, so let's take a look at the markets. Seeing a headline come in across the wire here. A lot of these tech companies seem like they're getting in business with each other. Intel talks with Apple are early but may not lead to an agreement. Intel has reached out to other companies about investing. China agreed to the terms of the TikTok deal. All parties of the deal agreed to the terms. So it sounds like TikTok is being sold as well. Some interesting stuff going on. Take a look at the quote board. To the downside today, we had gold down 1.37%, platinum down 1.6%, and lean hogs down 2.95% for our biggest percentage mover to the downside. To the upside, we had heating oil up 1.93%, crude oil up 2.19%, and copper, we talked about copper, up 3.89% for our biggest percentage mover to the upside. To talk about our big four, we had crude, we already talked about, up 2.21%, the S&P down 0.25%. We already mentioned gold down 1.37%, and the NASDAQ down 0.31% for the day. I got a NASDAQ chart up here, Coach Paul, on a daily. What are we looking at?
Well, we talked to good possible double top. We talked about this yesterday. Carved out that low from the day before. We kind of rejected that early this morning and had a continuation. But that's only a first indication. It's far from. I mean, this market is still very bullish. But this is the first chink in the armor since beginning of September. So we'll
Healthy
see.
pullback? Would you call this a healthy pullback?
Yeah, you could call that. Yeah, it's a healthy pullback if we rally tomorrow.
Right, right.
But there is. I mean, it showed some softness. That selling this morning. And we'll go deeper into what was pretty heavy.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. The last time we had 2 down days, we can see them here after a little bit of a leg up. These are more indecisive, right? You look at the bodies on these candles, and this one was Fed day, so we know what that wick was. These are a little stronger, more full-bodied candles where the selling sustained. A pretty decent wick on the lower end, but again, tomorrow is going to tell us a whole lot. We got some data coming out, so interesting end to the week we have setting up here. Let's take a look at.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Coach Paul.
Well, I was going to say, let's look at the half hour.
Let us take a look. So last night we got the half hour right here. Here is last night's open in the NASDAQ, and there we go. What are we looking at here?
Nothing much last night,
Yeah.
but I'm going to pass it to you because you had a great call this morning, and maybe you could redo that for us here right now.
Yes, I can. Shout out to CFT also. If CFT is in the chat, if you guys don't know, CFT hangs out. I love that CFT is here. A lot of times, we saw CFT in the chat yesterday saying sell it at 880s again, okay? Right after, right at the end of at the buzzer yesterday. And one of the things we talked about was this high volume candle right here from yesterday, and that lined up with that 880 area. And I think what I said to CFT was, let's see how the market responds here. If no volume trades above 880s, I'm shorting it. If the volume trades above 880, then it's a better case that the market is looking to use this as a support and bounce off of there. And if we look at where VWAP was from that candle, half of the range. So price went, volume didn't go. Like Coach Paul said, the overnight session didn't really give a whole lot, right? You could have bought off of this VWAP. You could have bought off of 50% of this candle. I didn't really see a great trade setup last night. But coming into this morning, if we go down to a shorter time frame chart, we said this during the opening call. I posted about this on X as well and on Instagram. If you guys are not following me on Instagram, I will shamelessly plug my Instagram page here. Give me 1 second. Let me find that. I'll find it later. But what we were looking for is this 880 area. When the volume comes in, Coach Paul, for that New York session, if volume, similar to what we saw at 25,000 yesterday, right? If volume doesn't trade above the major level, it's showing us that there's no convinced buying. We had 25,000s yesterday. This is almost the exact same trade.
It was very, very similar.
Very similar. Trade above the major, volume doesn't go, and we get some urgency early, leaving that opening range to the downside. Today's price action was very similar. We actually stopped at VWAP from yesterday, that 2-day VWAP, if anyone uses that. But again, another major level, 24,880 here, right? That was the high of that high volume candle from yesterday. If we attach a VWAP to that, price traded above it. We rejected at a whole number level, 24,900. No volume trades above that, and instant rejection. Where we were opening up today, Hogue and I both said it. You know, be patient, wait for extremes, wait for opportunities near the extremes. I took this trade on that rejection of 900 30 seconds into the market. And, you know, was that patient? I don't know, but sometimes, you know, when the game starts, Coach Paul, you can't, you know, decide when your opportunities are gonna. Sometimes they're right off the opening bell, and
Yes.
in this case, we got that rejection at 900s. No real reason to hesitate. I got into this position, and the risk was okay. Trade above 900, the same way we had the failure at 25,000. Um, we could, you know, the story is the story from there. Uh,
Well, you know, I like what you said. We talked about it a little bit before the show. Is you know, patience. Yeah, be patient to identify an opportunity. But
yep.
once you identify it and it's part of a plan, and you had it planned out, you know it from experience. It's be quick, but don't hurry. So hurrying is what gets us into trouble. I think you were very quick on that trade.
Yeah. Um, and it was, you know, the thing is, right, that was such a line in the sand that if we reject, Dolby says it all the time, right? Come failed moves, come fast moves. We failed to push above. That's a quick indication that we're probably not going to get these prices for that long. And if we did, then I'm okay being wrong. Um, JD in the chat says, kind of flipping my words from about a month ago, choosing to take the signal is an interesting decision. I had a note on my notepad, and I share it with you guys sometimes. Anytime I journal now, it's a one-liner. About a month ago, I had a line that said, "Choosing not to take the signal is an interesting decision." So I'm still improving as a trader myself, still getting better with executions. The reads are always there, but sometimes you got to take them. Consistent trader asks, "What is this red line on the chart?" That's anchored VWAP. In this case, anchored from the New York session open, 9:30 a.m. Central, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. And it is, you know, we can see it was a resistance on the way down. Trying to think, I actually did I take one or two trades today? Give me 1 second. Let me pull up execution because I think I actually shorted. Might have been in a different account. So, okay, so this one was a quick one, and here we go. Right, I got a 2-to-1 pretty quick here, Coach Paul, and you know, we look at the chart and says, oh yeah, you could have you could have caught 200 points on a short today. And I could have, right? Maybe I could have managed this one a little bit different. I think I did get a 2-to-1 though, because my risk was above 900s here. And yeah, I got out of most of this position 40, so pretty close to a 2-to-1. Um, I'm not going to harp on the fact that I've missed most of this move. Do I want to catch that entire move? Absolutely. Uh, you know, and I went in with some pretty heavy size because I will say, chat, that uh, on A plus setups, and this in this case was an A plus setup, almost the exact same trade as yesterday. I want to try to lean into these. So I took it with 3 minis, fully accepted the risk on this trade, but I also was not expecting a whole lot, right? If you heard the analysis, and this is where you have to, when a trader says, Coach Paul, how do I catch this entire move? If anyone watched the opening call, you heard the analysis. I did not expect more than a range bound market today. So taking off most of my position around this 830, 840 area was what my eyes saw at the time. Uh, Ideally, my eyes see that, hey, we have the potential for a 200-point sell off, but I didn't measure for that. So I can't be upset that I didn't catch this move because I should have measured for it if so. Um, and
Well, you just said you were looking for 2-to-1,
Yep,
and you got 2-to-1.
right,
Move on. Right?
exactly.
I'll take a 2-to-1 every day. It'll keep the bills away.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't even second guess it.
Um, yeah, ideally, and there's opportunity to maybe get back in. I know in this account I've been struggling a little bit, so I've also just been like, hey, you know what? Take a good trade and wrap it up and just have good rounds, right? I don't need to win the entire fight in one round. Have a good round. And that's kind of the way I'm seeing this. There's been some down days in this account. There's been some up days. There's been some struggle days where I start down and end up. So looking at today as just have a good round, but this was almost the exact same price action as yesterday. We had that initial sell off, consolidated. Today we consolidated for a little bit less, an hour and a half as opposed to 3 hours yesterday, and then we got that second leg. Really nice sell off here. Anything else you want to talk about in the equities, Coach Paul?
Yeah, let's look at that daily again. And let's draw a trend line from on the daily from the September low, September 2nd low, September 17th low, and look where we're
And
at.
today, yep.
So with that double top, this becomes to me the next. If we close below it, I think we'll have 3 closing days in a row, and we'll probably get some momentum to the downside. Um, I'm not saying that's going to happen. This isn't advice. But reviewing the technicals, that's a pretty steep uptrend.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
that angle is probably like 75, 80%. Those they need to get traded out of. So we'll see. To me, that's going to be an intermediate line to watch for tomorrow.
I would agree with you there. Coach Paul, I would be remiss if we didn't ask the chat, what is that white line? What is that white line, chat?
So
Somebody
here,
already.
that white line, look at how it flattened out.
Yep. Two.
That, that's another thing. We're losing momentum. So tomorrow should be an interesting. I don't think it can take any weakness. You know what I mean by that? It just, if there's some selling early, it's not going to take it well. At least technically, I don't believe so.
I would agree with you, Coach Paul. You know, and looking to the downside, and Sahaj asked, similar to yesterday, can we kind of frame out what might be potential for tomorrow? Looking at this FOMC candle, since we left it, we really hadn't traded much in it. Um, the high of that is 24,520. Not saying that that is where we're going, but that is about a daily ATR away, a little less than a daily ATR away. The high of that FOMC candle that we have not traded since we printed it. Uh, look both ways before you cross the street. Not saying that the trend is over, but it might might need to find some more buyers in a specific region. We got some catalysts tomorrow. There's a ton of news out tomorrow. I would just be looking there. If the market starts to sell, like you said, Coach Paul, uh, it almost looks like a magnet to where they might be taking it.
Yeah, because I like what you said. We haven't tested that FOMC candle
Yep.
that day. So I just one thing looking at this right now is we can see that 200 is flattened out. It's on. You can actually see it. It's so if it well, that's why I'm saying it can turn around. Remember that thing is like a tanker. It just doesn't flip. It trends. But for the first time, we're not going higher. We stopped going all day on the day session. So maybe we find some resistance there, but and the feeling is this is starting to turn around. The distributions are going lower, and they're not really recovering well.
No. One thing I do want to point out also, I can't remember when it was, but it was a time earlier this year where it seemed like on a daily, the NASDAQ stair stepped lower every 100 points. Here's 25,000. Here is 24.9, which is 100 points away. Look at the reaction to all these major levels. What we had, we're closed below 24.8 right now. And what I would frame out is this candle, right? Significant price action candle. We're settled right at 50% of it, kind of what we did yesterday.
Yeah.
And if we push up into 24.8s and there is no buying above it, which is we would be rejecting yesterday's high volume candle, rejecting at the high, we would be rejecting at the low of yesterday's high volume candle, rejecting at the high of today's significant price action, decent volume candle, and maybe stair stepping lower. I can't remember. Somebody in the chat might know, but there was like a 4-day period in the NASDAQ where we did this earlier this year, where every 100-point level we just stepped down, and we got 2 steps so far. So I'm watching this 24,800 level pretty close here. All right, let's take a look at the S&P real quick.
Wow, that's a head and shoulders.
On the S&P, right? Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Getting more interesting. Time to buy some puts.
Puts. Yeah, we got a shoulder here, head, another shoulder.
I didn't know you were an artist.
Uh,
Wow. Wow. Robot art. Very
right.
good. Someone take a screenshot of that. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, do we get another leg down here? Neckline, we kind of settled above it. Side to like a weird shaped neck, but
It's like, I look at it, it looks like a member on the floor selling. So
take it all.
save this. If
Take
we
it all.
continue, we'll call it a new J formation. Oh,
Got,
that's great.
got shoulder pads on here. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
selling some more.
S&P under that 6,700. Just looking at where that FOMC candle is, we tested it today. So S&P may be a little bit weaker than the NASDAQ is right now. I know there was some tech names that were up pretty big. Tesla was up pretty big today. But if we fail under 700s, do we start to see price acceptance back inside this Fed candle? Because we've already tested it a couple of times. It's been a support so far. Buyers do need to step in at this point to hold that up. And anything else on the S&P, Coach Paul? Do you want to check Russell and Dow?
Yeah, let's check our cousins.
That's like a cone head and shoulders. What the hell is that?
Okay. Oh, pencil neck, head and shoulder.
Right.
Okay, go have at it. Do your art.
Let's see. Got a shoulder.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
There we go. That is a sharp pattern there. Real nice rejection. Again, these were highs of the year in the Russell, and we're seeing a pretty nice pullback. We are down from that high of the year, down about 2% right now. Again, sitting at this neckline. So
Yeah, that does not. Let's look at the.
let me delete that.
Wow. Oh, I liked it. Um, so wow. I know I bought, it's fun. I bought it early and then sold the S&P and the NASDAQ.
Okay.
And it broke out of that opening range and I got out. And I was going to do it as a spread. But nice out. I didn't follow it after that. That was a pretty big hit. Under the 200 moving average, we have what are we going to call this character? Pinhead.
Call him, yeah, pinhead. Here we go. Call it a pinhead. Pie says it looks like an eagle.
An eagle.
Here we go.
Eagle head. All right. So that, but under the 200 and a sharp rebuke, it didn't recover. What's the daily look like? The Reaper. I like it's a little
different on the daily, so we're gonna remove that. But yeah, pretty nice rejection up there.
So The highs of the year, nice rejection, finding balance. That still in that candle, 50% of that candle.
Back in the Fed candle too.
Yeah. So interesting. See if we got. It looks like we're going to get to the 20, and we'll see what it's worth then.
Good stuff here. Good stuff. Why not take a look at the Dow? Similar pattern. Blow off top. That's all-time highs in the Dow. And seeing a little bit of a reversal. We closed below that candle. And trading again back inside the Fed candle. So interesting 2 days coming up. Interesting 2 days coming up for sure. Genius Genie asks, can we map some areas of interest to the downside? The FOMC candle. Take a look at the 30-minute candle from 2 p.m. Eastern time on September 17th. That is my area of interest for all these markets right now. We can already see the Dow and the Russell trading in it. The S&P tested it, and the NASDAQ is still above it. That would be my area of interest to the downside. And Coach Paul, I know with your pivots,
Yeah.
they're gonna end up somewhere in that range.
Well, that's going to be a very important pivot because they started moving lower from day to day.
Okay.
I'll have to bring that tomorrow. I'll start showing how that sets up.
Yeah.
But the pivots are going to start settling under that 200. That's why I'm, it's another reason I'm feeling it feels heavy to me.
Yep.
Like it heavy into the point it can't, like we talked. It's like putting 5 pounds on someone who's bench pressing their top weight, and
Yep.
all it takes is a little 5-pound weight, and it goes to the neckline real quick.
Yeah.
That it has that feeling. So tomorrow I'll frame those out. We'll share those.
Chauncey asked the question, would you say it accepting into last week's value area or maybe not sure in the S&P? Let's take a look. Is the S&P accepting into last week's value area? What was last week's dates? The 19th,
So let's look at
the 15th to the 19th. Let's take a look. Throw up a volume profile here. 15th to the 19th. That's going to be here to right there. Yes, it is. Yep. I gotta hold on. Let me make sure this is right. Yep. Value area is at 70%. So value area high for last week was 6702. Yeah. So this is definitely accepting into value from last week. We got a volume point of control from last week at 6670, up near the highs of that Fed candle. So yeah, interesting stuff here. Ton of volume. We can see. Let me I took Coach
I'll
Paul's
never
advice.
be able to look at a Head and Shoulders any other way now, Coach.
That is the expert technical analysis that you get here only at TopstepTV. But we can see this value area here mapped out. That's where we're accepting. Value area high right below that 6,700. So interesting stuff here. Do we get the rotation back to low 6652? There's a couple of things that line up there. I think that 200, nope, 20 moving average is a little bit lower. But yes, definitely accepting value from last week. All right, let's move on to gold. What did they do to gold? They broke it.
Yeah,
What are you seeing on this daily, Coach Paul?
a healthy correction. Yeah, looking at yesterday's, what is it, a hammer candle? We got underneath it, but it's still reasonable range. Is it settled? It looks like it's looking for a place to buy it again. It surely isn't the sign of a top. Not saying it is. It could turn into one, but looking for a dip to buy.
Looking for a dip to buy. Low of the day today in gold, 37.49.70. Mapped out on the daily, that Fed candle. Again, affects all the markets that we trade for the most part. We were looking at September 19th. Was it September 19th? No, September 9th. That was that range. But Fed candle probably more important now. 37.43, 37.44, the high of that Fed candle. We looked at it, didn't trade through it because, as Billy in the chat says, the white line for the stick save. What is that white line, chat? I mean,
Is it?
you
And
can't.
that's on the 4-hour chart?
This is the 30-minute chart.
Oh, Jesus.
This is the 30-minute chart.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They
I
cannot keep getting
forgot.
away with this. They can't keep getting away with this, Coach Paul, or they can, and we'll just be here to trade it. Please keep doing this. Market maker, whoever's listening, whoever's using the 200 moving average in their algo, never stop. We appreciate you.
Yeah, let's all get together as a community and enforce that.
Right. But I mean, a perfect bounce off that 200 moving average. Nice trade yesterday. So again, kind of looking at this is why I really like to pay attention to these high volume candles. Look at today's price action. Highest volume 30-minute candle from yesterday. And if you're a volume profile trader, this might show up to you in a different way. This is just how it shows up to me visually. But let's take a look at volume profile to see what might have been up there. Hold on, let me switch this real quick. Take off that developing. All right, so we didn't get through 2 point of control, which is up at 38.15. But look at this highest volume 30-minute candle from yesterday, right around that 50%-ish area. We opened up last night, and price traded lower. It traded higher, where here's that first 30-minute range. And I actually, you know what? Shanghai's are open.
Yeah.
9 p.m. Eastern time, 8 p.m. Central time is what we're kind of considering the open, just because we know that the volume is going to trade there. And I think looking at that time frame, Coach Paul has, if I'm taking overnight trades in gold, has helped my trades be a little bit more consistent in the overnight. But we had
Oh,
price.
yeah. And crude oil. It's
Yep.
we talked before. It's a commodity. It trades. It always trades.
Right.
Might not be trading, but these are always trading. So yeah, makes complete sense. These are the things to really look for overnight.
Yep. For slime time, it's a question in the chat. Topstep. Where will NASDAQ go upon market open? Topstep with a capital T, but we don't know. We don't know, right? If I told you I knew where the NASDAQ was going, you probably would never see me again. I'm gonna be honest. If I knew exactly where the NASDAQ was going, I would just full leverage every single trade that I took and buy a private island somewhere. But we went over the NASDAQ
No,
about
you don't want to do that. That's not cool.
maybe not buy a private island.
It's been ruined.
Right. I'll buy an island that all my friends can come to.
There you go.
You got to be careful with that too. I will donate to charity. But yeah, we don't know. We don't know. We have potential areas, right? We marked us some downside levels, some upside levels, and we'll see where the market wants to take us. I'd be watching that 24,800 level though. But in gold here, again, that high volume candle, just watching the market's reaction to some of these things. Price trades higher, volume doesn't. In a market that looks kind of heavy is just a decent spot to start to look. Now, it's not a guaranteed trade. We can see VWAP never crossed above 3,800. So price is going, Coach Paul, and it's just empty price action. Do you fade this move? Do you want to sell gold? Maybe you don't. But this could be a sign not to buy the breakout because volume isn't going with it.
You know, it was interesting in looking at that at the half hour. We bounced off that 200, but looking at the 5-minute and the 3-minute, it wasn't great volume. There wasn't like a seller's exhaustion in there. It's just it came to the close.
Yeah.
That,
Just kind of stop buying.
Yeah, it wasn't like there were. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, maybe it needs another little selling so we can get some exhaustive selling. But I look at that 3-minute. I mean, there wasn't great volume when it made lows.
Nope. No, it wasn't. Which I feel like we've talked about this recently that we didn't see a ton of volume when it made the lows. So that could just mean that's some continuation volume, right? Just a consistent sell, right? More
Yeah.
than a big flush, just consistently selling back down to those 3750s. We will see what tomorrow brings, but all of these markets are going to have an interesting next 2 days, in my opinion. Anything else you got on gold, Coach Paul?
No, but still we're giving great opportunity.
Oh yeah, yeah, really, really good opportunities here. Right off that 200 moving average, that is an interesting bounce there to
Yeah.
the tick, to the tick.
To
Uh,
the
I mean, you cannot draw that up any better. All right, let's quick look at copper today. Quick look at copper today. There was some news again out of copper, a market that on a higher time frame, that white line, that's a 200, that's a daily chart. Um, right to that 200 moving average on the daily. This is the biggest move in copper that we've seen since that major sell off. I don't know if I'd suggest trading copper. There are micros. MHG is the contract, but this is the first time we've closed above the follow through day after that major tariff sell off. Is this a 2 month J trade that we're seeing here?
God, it kind of looks like it looks a lot like crude oil.
Yeah, it does.
Um, yeah, I don't. So and it's kind of positive. Bearish news drove it higher. If I'm not
Yeah.
in,
Yeah, that sounds like bearish news, right? Sales are down.
remember that sales are down in the United States.
Right.
These tariffs do not affect, doesn't have the effect on countries outside the United States as much as it does here. Because we're paying the tax. So interesting. Right to the 200 though. Is I don't want to watch it. I don't want to trade it. I got enough. But interesting. We're right there.
Yeah. What I'm looking at, and again, I probably won't trade it either. But just from a technical perspective, what's happening is interesting. And the reason I don't want to trade copper, Jack had a similar response. He looked at this candle and he's like, "Oh wow, copper's up pretty big today, it's up 3%." And then he zoomed out and he's like, "Okay." He saw this candle. He said, "I'm never trading copper," because if stuff like this can happen, I can understand why that keeps people out of markets. But what's interesting is, again, the potential J trade that we're seeing on a higher time frame. Look at the last time we had some high volume like this, 120,000 contracts traded in a day. When we closed above that, that led to the next leg up right at that 200 moving average on the daily. We're seeing something very similar here on the daily. Again, this is not a suggestion to trade copper. I would look at this and be interested in it in any chart. But on the daily, we had 92,000 contracts traded in a day. We closed above it, right below that 200 moving average. There's potential that there's a continuation move here. And the way I would measure it is that's the target for me. But do I trade that? Do I trade copper? With how thin this market probably is, probably not. But it is interesting technically. All right, let's move on to crude oil. Unless you got anything else on the metals, Coach.
Um, no, nothing else. What did silver do?
Good question. A little bit of a pullback. It looks kind of like gold.
Yeah, even less dramatic. I mean, holding up very well.
Pretty well here.
Cash silver.
Why not take a look at platinum while we're at it? Platinum kind of indecisive day here. Consolidating below that 1500. I spoke incorrectly yesterday and said platinum was at all-time highs. Somebody corrected me on Twitter. Shout out to the community, keeping us honest. Platinum is not at all-time highs. All-time highs in platinum were in 2008, where it traded up near 2500. So we are very far away from
Buy more, Mortimer.
yeah, very, very far away. But
Boy,
that means we got room to go. We're about 75% off the all-time high in platinum. These are highs that we have not seen since 2014, so almost 10 years, a little over 10 years. Sarah, when I said I read your mind, you asked in the chat, were we going to talk about gold? switching to gold as you were asking that question. So just a little joke there. Crude oil, Coach Paul. Is this it? Are we breaking out?
Um, Not yet. It's so tempting, but it was a great trade today. But let's go back to that trend line from that copper-like candle. Yeah, let's go all. Yeah, that high, the last high, up a little. Either way, it's all the same. We're breaking out of that. Do on all of them, and you can see this is really starting to turn. We're above the 200, and we had decent volume yesterday. And this is the first 2-day solid rally, really, since we made the low. So can it bring up momentum? No, but if we look at the range, it's still in that range. But it was some great action today. Now, another way we can look at it is we don't see it's double bottom, triple bottom out of this range. We'll see where we get where you have at that top. Our last time we went up this high and rejected pretty mightily. For now, that's the range. Let's see what happens tomorrow, if and when we get there.
Yeah. Nice call by Hogue today. I came in today saying I'm looking potentially for an opportunity to sell crude oil, but maybe not today, right? Maybe the sell wasn't today, and the reason being, uh, the pattern we've been seeing over the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, is 3 down days, 3 up days, down day, 3 up days, 3 down days, 3 up days. Shorting crude today wasn't the trade, but price wise, we're in a location that I'm starting to get interested in a short if we're going to keep this pattern. Now, again, anything we say is for educational purposes only, not any trading or investment advice. But I'm looking at crude the same way I'm looking at all these other markets if they're approaching a major level. What major level is that? It is 65. So if I don't see volume above 65 and price goes, I may be more inclined to short a market that has been showing that this is the upper extreme of that range or somewhere near it. If volume goes with it, no trade. Or I get in with the flow and get long, right? But if volume goes above 6,500, sorry, $65, there is no short there because the market is saying that, yeah, we are trying to, at least attempting to break out of this range. So interesting spot here in crude. Been presenting some great intraday trades to us, and I don't think it is over. Don't think it's over. Like you said, Coach Paul, Hogue mentioned that as well this morning. Breaking that trend line is significant.
Yeah. Now we got to break out of the range.
Can we trust the buyers? And we trust.
Well, if those buyers are the ones that are starting to cover their shorts, this could get very interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but let's look at that half hour, the opening from last night. So we got some selling in Asia, but it wasn't much. We were over the previous day's volume point of control. So we have this big rally yesterday, and I like to look at the volume points of control right there. And that came at what time?
The test of that point of control came at 4:30 a.m. Eastern time during the London session. Again, our friends in London getting all the best prices, all the best opportunities.
They're on a roll.
They really are. It's been 3 weeks we've been talking about this where whatever's going on, and it's across markets. We're seeing it in oil, gold, the equities. Bill's getting some good trades. London's getting some good trades.
Cheerio. So found that very interesting. And that one not only was low, that's almost like an island bottom.
Yep.
And man, it did take off. But what's even more interesting is since we get the VWAP, we go back over VWAP, but then we break yesterday's highs.
Yep.
Now, if we do a volume profile up to that point, from the opening up to that London close.
Clean this up a little bit. So we're going to do volume profile from yesterday. And then we'll do a volume profile from the open to London close, you said?
Yeah.
We
No, to the London, to that low.
to the low. Gotcha.
Now, what I like to do is then now we'll go to the point where we went to new highs and see if that one of it's a volume profile, and we'll see how or that volume point. Now we're over it. That what do we get out of that? Well, we have a volume point of control that we near the lows of the day that held the previous day's low. When we're talking volume, now VWAP off those lows goes above it. If I'm just reading that alone, I'm short, I'm out of there. I'm not waiting to hit a stop. I'm but looking at that for opportunity. And that, and like Coach, you said, it all comes from volume.
Yep.
Price is an advertisement. If there's no volume there, there's no trade there, period. But very interesting.
Yeah, really interesting trade here in Crude. Completely opposite of what I expected to happen. And when that happens, it's okay to not take a trade. Balaji, that should answer your question. The question was, I had a bullish trade planned for gold today, but the market did otherwise. Do I change my trade plan to fit what the market presents, or just pass since it's not part of my trade plan? Uh, if you had a bullish idea for gold today and you didn't trade it, you read what the market said, market didn't agree with what you saw, and you traded really well. You might not have made any money from it. You also didn't lose any money. So now the follow up, the second question is, do I trade my trade? Do I change my trade plan to fit what the market presents? That's up to your discretion. You have two coaches here, and we may have different opinions on it. A lot of times, Coach Paul is going to say, take one side of the market, which I 100% agree with, and I wish I did more often than I don't. So if your trade plan said to buy gold today, and there was no great long setups, you did your thing. Switching to trading both sides of the market is in the interest of catching more moves than the market is willing to present. But you got to understand that in doing that, you could get flipped around by the market. So, how would you answer that question, Coach Paul?
I think you did a good job. You had a plan to buy it, and you said you didn't trade. You didn't find a place to buy it. Then you identified it, and think of it this way: without that plan, and just relying on your intuition or your emotion, let's say you just buy it, or like I said, you just bought it with no exit strategy, no reason to buy it. That's an impulse. Yeah, and don't, if you're trading on impulse, let me ask the audience, how well do you do?
Not
So
very.
I think you've graduated, you've come to another level in trading. You didn't find a place to buy it. You were disciplined not to just buy it. It didn't fit your plan. Now you're an organized trader. Great job.
Really good stuff. Good stuff. We got a question from player. I've noticed Coach Jay has hit a turning point in his trading. He is holding XFAs consistently in green day after green day. What's the secret sauce? I have red days. I had a red day Monday. Small green day yesterday. I was up $60. I don't, I could share the P&L on this account. I don't for a reason, because I don't think it helps anybody else really. Because our analysis is still the same. But player, if you want to ask what's been working for me, recently it's taking the trades that we talk about. I've realized, and this is, Top Step TV is my journal. I don't write journals anymore, and that's why most of my journaling is just one line. Top Step TV is my journal, and uh, you guys might think I'm crazy, but there are times where I'll go back and watch a segment that I'm on Top Step TV 3 or 4 times. Um, and what I realized is I was calling out some damn good trades, not taking them. And then what I was doing, what I was executing was some random, for lack of better words, some random bullshit. So I stopped doing that. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
No, I love that it's frank and honest.
Yeah. So
It's exactly the randomness of it.
right. And part of it was, having some good call outs and not taking them and then being frustrated. Uh, and, it's the calls are the calls. Again, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I think that what Coach Paul and I do here at the Buzzer is some of the best trading education on the internet, period, for futures trading. With that being said, sounds real good, but if you don't execute on it, you're not maximizing the work that you're doing. So that's a reminder to me. I got this shirt on. This is my gym shirt. I came from the gym straight to at the Buzzer, and tagline on it says "Become your best." So that's my goal right now. Make really good reads, get paid from them, and getting paid from them is executing, and that's just been a focus for me recently. So, um, you know, uh,
Yes, that's
that, that
great.
that's been it. That's been the focus.
And with that said, if you haven't hit the like button, now might be a good time.
Yep. Yeah. And player, that's a good observation, right? I'm happy you can point that out. JD in the chat, you had a comment a couple of days ago or weeks ago that was just like Jay got famous and he fell off. I appreciate that, right? I consider you all my trading buddies, and I want all of us to just execute what we see, right? Whether it's me, whether it's people in the chat, with Coach Paul. When Coach Paul, we get in the green room, he's smiling ear to ear. He's like, "I had a good day," and I know it's not about the money; it's about executing what the plan was, and then the money follows that. So that's where I want everybody to be, executing our game plans. Uh, that's what we get paid for. Um, Any other markets, Coach Paul? Anything on your scouting report? Anything you want to take a look at before we go? Chat, if you guys have any questions, let us know.
Um, no, I think we just review of what we talked about. By the way, let's go over we have a little time. Let's go over the euro currency. I was saying I wanted to buy it. So we'll start with last night's a half hour open. And this will go with Balaji,
Yeah. Half hour?
half hour.
Jesus. Oh,
Now, Balaji, this goes out to you. I didn't buy it. I might buy it tonight. But yeah, and when you talk about, sometimes the trade you don't take is the best trade. There wasn't a place to buy it. Matter
yep.
of fact, it was some pretty heavy selling. So maybe tonight, I don't know. And we go back to a trading plan. I'll look for the first half hour. If we get some emergency, I'll buy it. If not, um, that's it.
No trade. Uh, should have bought the dollar. The dollar had a nice day today. It needed one. Man, this started to accelerate in Europe. Some nice
Yeah,
volume through that 200. Uh,
Japanese yen had a big
yeah,
hit too.
yeah, it did. Oh my god. Right at that. Look at where we opened. Yeah. Can't trade everything, man. I wish we could. Wish we could, Coach Paul, because
No, but we talk about this. It's the trading plan.
yep.
Think about it. This because it's uncertainty. Would you go into the woods without a compass?
No.
You might get out on the other end, You might not,
Yeah.
but sure helps having a compass or a path. Um, so yeah, that yen, and what's that white line?
I mean, I mean, is it a it I think I can do it in Quantower, but and I think I tried to do it before, but I'm gonna be honest here, chat. I know there's 36 different markets. There may be a good reason, and I don't trade this way. And this is just information for anybody who likes this 200 moving average. There may be a good reason to do a post-market analysis of any market near a 200 moving average before the next day's open. Take with that what you will, do with that what you will. But I mean, all it takes is a quick scan. Dow, kind of close to it. The Mexican peso, are we near it? The crude oil, just where is that white line in relation to the market? Because we see some pretty explosive moves. And again, that is a completely different analysis, trading style than you'll hear most people say. Should everyone uh, scan 30 different markets? No, but someone's going to do it. I don't know who that person is. They're going to get some pretty good trades off of that 200 moving average when they set up. Not a guarantee. Nothing we say here is trading advice, but interesting level there for sure. Some traders are asking how to set up the 200 moving average. I have this moving average triple indicator here. It's just an indicator on TopstepX. I just type in triple. It's there. And then in the settings, it's a simple moving average. You'll hear people use exponential moving averages. This is a simple moving average. The reason I use the triple is because we look at the 20, 50, and 200. The 20 and the 50 are the yellow and purple lines on my chart. 200 is the white one. That's it. That is it. You could also just use, if you don't want the 20 and the 50, you could just use a regular moving average and just change that value to 200 and go from there. If you put the 200 moving average on your chart and you're an at the buzzer viewer, make it a white line.
And then hit the like
And
button.
then hit the like button. We are just giving out all the sauce right now, Coach Paul. Still got to get in the kitchen though.
You still got to get in the kitchen and
Yep.
make the trade. And it's not like this is new.
No,
But
nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. Coach Paul, anything else you got before we go?
that's it. Once again, plan your trade your plan. Sometimes it gets you out of trouble, and that's a winning day.
Yep. Yeah. those are some of the best days. My plan didn't align with the market, didn't take it. That is a win for sure. That is a win for sure. That time frame we were just looking at was a 30-minute. Oh, we had somebody asked us to go over the 30-year real Coach Paul.
Yeah, actually with some weakness, but still above the white line, still 50% of that whatever day candle.
Yep, that's the daily 50% rejection there. We're testing at the lows, and on the 30-minute, we're below the 200 now. Interesting.
Yeah, it's just been tough, and it's just being pushed up, kind of like being pushed up on a string. Kind of theory. I really stopped training it. It's been sloppy. That is the best thing I can say.
Yeah, I haven't traded much either, but below that 200 moving average, let's see if we continue this trend. But I got nothing else, Coach Paul. Coach Paul, anything you got before we go? You already said it. Trade your plan.
Yep.
You got Coach Hoop coming up with a class in Discord in about 15 minutes from now. And then Coach Ray and Coach Vince, 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. Dakota with Slow Markets tonight at 7:30. I'll be on with him tonight. Aaron with the London Open, 1:30 a.m. Central. D with the Euro Trade, 4:30 a.m. Central. And then we'll be back for the opening call. We got jobs data, GDP, all that tomorrow. for the open. We'll be covering it during the opening call, giving you our analysis for where we think the go. Coach Paul just said, plan your trade, trade your plan, manage your risk because that's most important. Even if you think you have 100% setup, I haven't found a trader that is never wrong. So try not to over leverage. Thank you, everybody, for joining. If this is the best trading content in futures trading, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up button. We will see you all tomorrow.
And tell your friends.
Tell your friends and family to like and subscribe, and we'll see you then. Have a good one. Bye.
All right.